Welcome back to Flag on the Take. I'm your host, Cole Braban, and alongside me, my co-host, Jordan. Man, we have a very special episode for y'all today. Jordan, tell us about what we got going on today.
Yes, we do. We have a very special guest today, folks. Co-owner of Triple Play Fantasy, graduated from Towson, Bachelor of Science, Sport Management. We have Eric Mendelson.
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, Eric?
Yeah, what up,
Appreciate
Eric?
appreciate the invite. Excited to talk with you guys today. We're in that time now where we got all four sports going. I'm sure there's a dream for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nothing better.
definitely. Yeah, I feel like we started the podcast at the right time. There's a lot of coverage. NFL every week. NBA just started back up. It's been good. It's been good.
Can't forget about the World Series. Game 1 was electric last night.
Yeah.
God, it's let me tell you, it's getting tougher to do things in the real world when there's sports on at every turn.
No, for real. I'll be trying not to neglect my homework, especially when the games are on and things like that. Nah, for real. I'll be struggling. Last night I was watching NBA, and so
Yeah, that Lakers Suns game
it
was
didn't go too
good.
well. Yeah, that's exactly the one I was watching too. I think it was the Hawks. I want to say. I forget. I was kind of peeking at it as I was doing my work.
You know, I hate giving free ads, but if you have FanDuel, they give you NBA League Pass the first 3 months for free. So
I think
I'm
I've seen
taking
that.
advantage of that.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, I might have to get on FanDuel. I've been looking for. See, I'm not heavy on the sports betting, but if I was, that'd probably be where I'd go for it. I don't know.
You're better than I am, and you're saving a lot of stress.
I don't got the money to be betting. That's the only reason I don't. Broke college student.
Bro, me and Hizzy just bet like $1 or $2 at a time. It ain't bad.
Oh, that's true. Y'all still got that free money, or is that done?
Oh, dude, you best believe we got that free money. Yeah, Eric, quick story. We got that free bet $5 get 50 or whatever, and we hit like a crazy like $400 parlay on it. So we just been coasting off that free money for like 2 years now.
I love that. You know, people say beginner's luck is a true thing, and I'm not saying that you guys are beginners, but hitting a massive parlay like that is definitely luck. But it's some free money you get to play with. How much did you win?
It was like $300, I think, something like that. I don't know. Just shout
Off
out
a
Giannis.
$5 bet? That's great.
Yeah, shout out Giannis going for like it was like the night he had like a 50-point triple double or something, and I just
Oh, I
bet the
remember.
over
Yeah.
on everything.
Jeez.
And Jokic
Jeez.
also went crazy. It was just like some crazy NBA parlay that popped up, and I'm like, yeah, why not? It's free money.
I love that. I'm going to have to start telling you.
All right. Let's get into this thing, fellas. So, to start off, we have an icebreaker. We call this Flag on the Take Confessions. So, Eric, what are some of your controversial sport takes that will ruffle some feathers?
Ooh, LeBron is the best businessman of all time in NBA, not the best player. I did a whole YouTube clip on that about how he strategically navigated his way to be in the best possible scenarios, manipulating free agency, talking with Wade and LeBron to take strategic pay cuts, his navigation back to Cleveland.
Okay.
So I think that's a controversial one. I wanted to joke and say Dez did catch it, but that's just like an old joke. Oh, man, controversial. You guys got me on the spot here.
Looks like a hill you're willing to die on.
Let me hear some other ones, and then that'll give me some inspiration. I'm normally good at this stuff. You guys
Cole,
really
this is your bag. You got a couple.
Oh man,
You
Eric,
got a couple, brother.
I don't know how long you've been listening to the pod, but the first like 4 weeks of the pod, man, me and Jordan went to absolute war over Jackson Dart. He was my dark horse Heisman pick, and he's not even like one of my favorite players. He was just like, I was like, oh, Jordan, dark horse Heisman pick, don't be shocked. And then like it just snowballed into this massive debate over whether he's
Yeah,
good or
he had to
not.
die on it. I'm like, brother, please. You got Stockholm syndrome. Please don't. Don't let him do it to you. But nah, Cole also. Okay, I'm gonna ask you, Eric, now that you're here. So last episode we talked a little bit about Russell Wilson, the Steelers. Do you think Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer?
Oh boy.
Oh God, that's a good one. Yes, because I think there's the longevity aspect with the stats. Like everybody says, like, does Eli Manning or Phillip Rivers deserved to be Hall of Famers, especially like the Phillip Rivers one. Like, did he do anything? He didn't even make it to a Super Bowl. But think about the physicality of the sport now, and quarterbacks probably won't play as long as he did. So stats matter. So I do think Russell Wilson is, and I say that as someone that's a 49ers fan.
You hear that, Cole? You hear that?
So, whoa, wait. How old do you, all right, over under. Is Russell Wilson going to be over under the age of 55 when he gets in?
I'm going to be under.
He's gonna be under.
No way.
I think he's gonna be under.
There's no way.
If you don't get it in the first couple of years when you retire, when like recency bias is still, there, you ain't getting in. Like when the new generation of people haven't seen you, like Russell Wilson in 20 years will be most famous for throwing an interception at the one.
Yeah. Which is low key what it is now. Low key.
But right now, he's known now for like being corny.
Yeah.
But like people aren't gonna remember the Subway commercials in a year or like
The Danger
10
Witch.
years or whatever. They're gonna that's probably the most infamous play in the Super Bowl for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but you know how the NFL is, man. They're trying to get these old heads from like the 1960s in, so I wouldn't be shocked.
Another controversial one. Well, since we're talking about quarterbacks, I think Peyton Manning. If you take away accolades, Peyton Manning is the best quarterback of all time.
Aha! Somebody agrees with me.
You went right up Cole's alley. That's Cole's favorite quarterback.
He's my personal GOAT.
Yeah, he's Cole's GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, just super, super smart. Obviously, you can say he had the weapons around him, in the early part of his career, but just somebody that can dissect the football at the line of scrimmage. I mean, there was that play against Washington where he, like, broke his neck and continued playing. And, like, the surgeries he needed, he won that Super Bowl, obviously, with the defense, but it wasn't anything physical that he had going. It was all mental of just being able to do short throws, being able to audible to runs,
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
Yeah. I still feel like he elevated, though, even with the teams that he had around him. It wasn't just him playing point guard. I feel like he elevated them to a certain level.
I'd agree.
Man, I've been saying that Peyton was the GOAT, but everyone's like, "Oh, you're a hater."
Cole, I know you lit up. Eric,
Oh.
I was picturing Cole's head as soon as you said that. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh, dude, I started grinning ear to ear.
All right,
So
we got one
here's
more icebreaker. Oh no, go
Here's
ahead.
another
Go ahead.
one we
Hit that
argued about. Just since we're talking about things we were arguing about already, is Aaron Rodgers in the top 10 for you?
Of quarterbacks?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Absolutely.
See, Jordan had to hesitate.
I said he was. I had to think about it.
Best interception to touchdown ratio, or touchdown to interception ratio. I feel like you guys are a little bit younger to remember A. Rodgers' prime.
I very vividly remember it because my father's a
I
Packers
just remember
fan.
the 2010s run, and I don't really remember the Super Bowl him beating us because I don't even think I was watching football like that then.
He, like, absolutely insane throws. I think there was a cornerback from like the Vikings back in the day. Maybe it was like Antoine Winfield. And he was talking about how he was covering one of the Packers receivers and Rodgers threw it in the end zone. And he thought he was going to just catch the ball easily. And at the end, the ball like did a certain type of movement. And he's like, I've never seen that. Like the ball literally looked like it shifted in midair. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, yeah, this is different.
It makes no sense. Like his accuracy off platform, on platform. It doesn't make sense, especially with like his mechanics and stuff, but it just works.
Yeah. So easily top 10.
Yeah, and like I'm not making excuses for him, even though I subconsciously feel obligated to because like I said, my dad's a Packers fan. But the Aaron Rodgers, I guess if you count last year, has only had a top 10 defense twice in his whole career. One year blew out his Achilles after 4 plays, and the other year he won the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying, you give that man a defense, and he would have had so many more rings.
Well, here's the thing too. They lost in the NFC Championship game to the Seahawks on the Brandon Bostic muffed onside kick. And as a 49ers fan, I don't like to talk smack because we haven't won anything, but we've beat him in the playoffs 4 times. So he literally can beat most teams besides us. We just happen to have his number. So, it's I feel like if things had been different, if he had matched up with different teams, he would have probably had more success.
I see that. I'm still thinking about that game. Was it Mostert that went off for like 200?
Oh, yeah. Where Jimmy G threw the ball 8 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the
Didn't
craziest
Kaepernick
games I've
get
ever
him
seen in my
once
life.
too?
Kaepernick.
I think Cap did get him once.
Yeah. Oh, as a 49ers fan, Jimmy G sucks, and I've been saying that. Jimmy G was never the same post ACL to me.
You seem like an
Oh
unbiased
man.
fan. What's your thoughts on Brock Purdy?
Wait. Let me just get a little more Jimmy G slander since you're. So
Oh yeah, we're here for it. We're here for it.
Go ahead.
Jimmy G only lasted as long as he did in San Francisco because there's a group of women, and it's a large group, that think he's really attractive and have the slightest chance that he'll sleep with them. So it was the popularity move to keep Jimmy G because he's handsome.
I want to say it's like
They call him
80% of
porn star
women.
Jimmy for a reason. He's porn star Jimmy for a reason.
Exactly. So that's my honest thing on the 49ers.
What about Brock
How you
Purdy?
feel about
Then?
Brock Purdy?
He's not worth $60 million a year. Like, everybody says, okay, he's a system quarterback. You can't help what's around you.
I think every quarterback's a system quarterback.
I actually am more anti-Shanahan than most
Ooh,
Really?
people.
that's a controversial take. Get into that.
I mean, I think he would be the best offensive coordinator of all time. He's awful with game management for timeouts. Like, for example, look at Kansas City on Sunday. Right before half, on third down with no timeouts, he decides to run the ball. We get stopped and don't get a first down, and then when we have to hurry, the special teams on there. It doesn't make sense to run on third down where there's no timeouts. He's awful with clock management. He's blown 3 10-plus point leads in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. He gets very, very stubborn. Like, if you look at the first half of the Super Bowl last year, we had 2 3-and-outs where he didn't run once with McCaffrey and we had the lead. He had Brock Purdy throw 6 straight times, including on Kansas City's side of the field after the interception. Took the ball first at the beginning of overtime, which is a disadvantage because you know when you're second if you're playing for 3 or 4 downs or if you were going for 1 or 2. So it's an actual advantage. It's just things like that I think he's very smart schematic-wise, X and O. I think he's very stubborn. He doesn't take accountability, and he coaches scared. Like, if you look at the 49ers games, when he prepares and he scripts the first 15 plays, we always start out well. But once teams adjust, he doesn't do a good job of adjusting back. Brock Purdy, I'm actually more on him this year than I was in previous. I went to the game in San Francisco when they played New England. Like, he's gotten better at rushing. He doesn't turn the ball over as much. He needs to get better in the red zone. I would love Brock Purdy the way that the females do about Jimmy G. If he said, you know what, I make $750,000 a year now. I'm okay taking a cut, 20 to 25 mil a year. I will still be rich beyond my wildest dreams, but I want to take a pay cut and build my team around me and be able to retain talent.
Would you be okay if he was on a Danny Dimes type of deal?
No. 40 million is too much for him, and we're not going to be able to keep everyone that we have now. So if he took 20 to 25 mil a year, which I doubt he will, I would love him.
Not a
but
chance
he's
in
not
hell.
worth 60 million. He's not worth anything. Like, with salary cap going up, I'd say max he's worth 30 million, but anything beyond that, no.
I agree with you. I just like you said again, he's not going to take that.
Weirdest thing, you got to think about the Players
I
Association.
don't know. I'd like to think he doesn't drink. He doesn't drink, so maybe.
We need to get him to drink a little bit before he starts talking about the contract.
You got to
know what,
think,
though?
man.
He seems like a good guy.
He is a good dude.
Yeah, I could see why you say that. Maybe so. Maybe he'll take the 30.
Look, it's like Tom Brady did it at the end of his career, but maybe he does it early. Like I said, look, if somebody said you're going to make 20 to 25 million a year for 6 years, I don't think you'd really complain about that.
Yeah, I agree. But I also, again, looking at like the landscape of quarterbacks, I'm not saying Brock Purdy's up there with some of them. I know some people do think so. I don't think so personally, but just looking at the quarterback landscape, you can see.
Rank him?
Yeah, at like top.
So real quick,
I have to think.
Respectfully, I agree with your thought process, but it would take a very warm place to freeze over before the NFL Players Association lets him take a contract like that, because he's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna take this deal for 30, and they're gonna beat on his door and be like, well, what about the guy behind you? You're ruining the market.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Cole, to your point, besides Baker Mayfield, when the Browns didn't pay him, isn't that just the nature? Is teams overspend for what they think is a franchise quarterback, even if they know it's not a franchise quarterback?
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I
like
mean
the
the
Buck,
Jaguars are already ready to cut Trevor Lawrence.
the buck has to stop somewhere. And I have the same thing for teams that trade up. Like all the 49ers gave up for Trey Lance, and it didn't work out, obviously, but that was an insane amount to trade up for
Yeah, that
one
was a
player.
king's ransom.
It
Like,
was.
you didn't see teams trading up this year because I feel like at some point everybody was like, look, now this has gone too far. Like teams are continuing to put in a lot of money or investments, and we have to buck the trend at some point. Like nobody's ever going to probably beat Deshaun Watson's contract because that was such an outlier. Like nobody still has more guaranteed money, and people have signed after him. Jordan
Yeah.
Love, Lamar Jackson,
Kirk
Herbert
Cousins had it
Lawrence.
fully guaranteed, and it still wasn't as much as Deshaun's was.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the Players Association definitely won't mess with that.
I think Deshaun Watson's contract panning out so poorly is why teams aren't willing to pay as much. I guarantee you if Deshaun went to Cleveland and they paid him all that money and he won them like a ring or two and won like an MVP, teams would be dishing that kind of money out, no question asked.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they also thought they were getting Houston Deshaun.
Thank God they didn't.
Yeah, it was an awful trade.
I was happy
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Screwed an in-division rival.
Browns fan?
Oh no, I'm a
Browns
Ravens
or
fan.
Ravens?
No, he's definitely
Yeah,
Ravens.
that's why.
What do
Any
they
more
call-
controversy? We got one more question, and then we're gonna get into like our interview stuff.
All right.
So, biggest sport heartbreak could be any sport, any moment in
49
time.
Come on, man. Just being a 49ers fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have known that's where that was going.
Oh man.
In my time of being a fan, we've lost 3 Super Bowls, 2 to the Chiefs, who my brother, aka my best friend, is a fan of. One
Oh, that's
against
gotta
the
be
Ravens
brutal.
When I went to Towson, and we've lost in the NFC Championship 4 times, and we had a fourth quarter lead in all of those games, besides the Eagles one, where we didn't have a quarterback that could actually throw the ball.
So you think there was one that hurt more than the others?
The last Kansas City one. The last Kansas City. I said
overtime.
if Dre Greenlaw didn't tear his Achilles, we would have won that. I mean, come on, our second best linebacker before Fred Warner, or besides Fred Warner, tears his Achilles running on the field. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
sniper got him.
Yeah, I remember when it happened. He just went down. I'm like, oh no. Then I saw the soundbite of Fred. He was like, no, and I felt so bad. I was like, gee.
We knew it was done after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a sniper got him.
Why did I agree to get on this podcast? You know, a bunch of bad memories.
I promise it'll get better, bro.
We're cool, man. We're cool. All right,
I don't know, man.
we go get we gonna get to the rest of the questions. We're not gonna hurt you too much longer. All right.
I can
So,
go over some of my
first
pain if
question.
you want.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah. We can do that first before we get into it.
I feel bad. We're only asking about his pain. My pain.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's go around the room. Let's go around the room. You go first. Cole, and then I'll go.
All right. In terms of football, my first ever heartbreak as a football fan, I was 9 years old. Billy Cundiff misses that 32-yarder in Foxborough. Thought for sure that was
That's
the
pretty
year we were
bad.
winning it.
I figured you would bring that up.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever cried over a football game. And then the other football one was, oh my God, 2019. Derek frickin' Henry. I love him now, but man, I cussed him up and down when he came into Baltimore and beat us in the ALD or the divisional round.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
that
about?
was the 14-2 season.
Yeah.
He turned.
Yeah.
He turned. Who was
all
the safety at
Ravens.
the time?
Earl
Oh
Thomas.
my gosh. Earl Thomas into a lead blocker. Bro, he turned him into a lead blocker.
Dude, I still to this day hate the Titans because of that. I don't hate Derrick Henry anymore because he's scoring touchdowns for us, but I still to this day hate the Titans.
Weren't they standing on the logo and everything too?
Oh yeah. For basketball, it's
Yeah.
got to be that shot Kawhi Leonard hit, the one that hit the rim 4 or 5 times to knock the Sixers out the year they won the
76ers,
chip.
Yeah.
The year they won the chip, the Raptors did. That sucked. I didn't cry over that, but I was really pissed off. And then for baseball, I'm an Orioles fan, so when we got to the ALCS, either 2014 or 2015, I thought that was our year. Getting
Against
swept
the
in that
Royals.
sucked. Yeah, exactly. And then these past 2 years have just been absolutely brutal. I mean, you could take dealer's choice of which of these two hurt more.
Um, for me, football wise, you know what? It's actually 2016 AFC Championship game against the Patriots. Le'Veon Bell's nuts itched, so he was out for the whole game, and we got absolutely thrashed. And I think I cried, and I also cried when we lost to Blake Bortles in the divisional round in 28. Man, oh my gosh, that was 2 years. I'm like, okay, we got one of the most talented offenses in NFL history, and you don't get a ring out of it.
Yeah,
It
that is
it
pretty bad.
burns me to this day. What if? Really think I have one for basketball because I'm like a casual basketball fan. So like I just watch it and I like watching the
You
games. I'm very
smart.
entertained by
You
all of it.
smart. Don't invest yourself.
Yeah, like
Yeah, don't do it.
I already
It
know how sick
sucks.
football makes me. So I'm like, uh, but yeah, I think those would be that those two games as far as NFL would be mine. Hurts my soul just thinking about it. But we can move on to some of the questions we got for you, Eric. So tell us about like the birth of triple play.
Yeah, man. I mean, just like you guys are doing now, you've always, talked with friends and been like, oh, it'd be cool if we did this, podcasting. So 2019, my brother and I like had an idea and we put it in the in like our fantasy group chat, and most people made fun of us, and rightfully so. Like friends dig on each other, and one person said he was down, so we kind of started doing it, and then our friends were like, oh wait, this is actually kind of cool. And then we had talked about doing a baseball show. So our first football show was called First Down Fantasy, and then we tried doing something for fantasy baseball, but the name was taken. And we were thinking like, it's not good to have three different names. And so there's a term in baseball, triple play, and we looked and nobody had that, and we're like, triple play fantasy, like that's a pun on baseball, but also like three sports. We want to talk about basketball at some point.
Yeah,
And
double
so,
entendre.
and so we had like a 14-year-old make a logo for us. I paid him like $10 for it. Made our Twitter account, and then as we started to grow, pandemic hit. So if you go on Twitter, there's like a big fantasy community there, and
Yeah.
that was a huge shock to us, is finding people like us during the pandemic looking to grow their brand. So there was a lot of collaboration. I think we were different where we invited a lot of athletes on our podcast, probably over 100.
Yeah, you guys have had some good interviews.
Yeah, current, former, media personnel, players. I do sales for a full-time job, so for me, like it was just pretty natural, and we started to see like a lot of success, a lot of following, and it's never something we made a crazy amount of money from. Everything that we made was reinvested back into the company, but something where I can look back and like it's an official LLC. Like we have a license for it. We have our logo.
That's
I have
cool.
apparel that I wear that has it. So, kind of just something that started as a joke, and a big help because of the pandemic really snowballed.
I feel like there's a lot of pods that started because of the pandemic or like companies in
Absolutely.
general. And I feel like it was an excellent time for it.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing else to do. Like peak pandemic.
Yeah.
You're not even allowed to like go out to restaurants.
Yeah.
So, once again, working to our advantage of, people aren't even, like for the athletes, like they have nothing to do either. And I think it was, like, I think we did good information, but I think having the athletes on is like what helped set us apart. Because, especially sometimes if the athletes retweeted it or something, then it would like, I mean, it'd get in front of potentially a lot of people.
Yeah, dude, we gotta get some athletes on here, man. That's a dream of mine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're gonna be hitting them DMs pretty heavy. What allowed you guys to build up such a like substantial social media presence, like 10,000 plus across all platforms?
So I think we started first on Twitter, and as we started, first going, like, and I'll just be honest about it, it was a lot of follow for follow, like going on follow trains and following people that did that, putting out a lot of content, being in share groups, so people that have other decent followings sharing your posts, so that it's once again the reach was helping get there.
Yeah.
And then doing to Instagram to try to get a new crowd. Anybody I knew or came across, helping to give a 5-star rating or review, or hey, can you follow us on YouTube? Can you be a sub there? The way the algorithm starts working is, the more that you have, especially like if on podcast, if you're listening to CBS Fantasy Football, and then it's like, oh, other podcasts you might like, it'll recommend football ones that are more popular, have more ratings, have more reviews. So just kind of some grassroots marketing. I printed out flyers and I would go to Ravens tailgates and literally just bounce around and ask people, if they were fantasy football fans, if they were Ravens fans. Just being aggressive with it. Like, you can't expect people to come and find you right
Yeah,
away.
you got to find them.
Yeah, you got to find them, and then
Cole, we hitting some tailgates this year.
I'm with it. Let's go.
and I mean too, and like Jordan, I want to give you a shout out too, because you did great when you were working for us.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Atta baby young. Hell yeah.
He had some great shorts that went viral, that got tens of thousands of views, and like that really helped. So, just having good quality stuff on your page and putting out consistent content. Like, once you start to get, some people that tune in regularly, then you start to see that snowball a little bit. So, like, we're putting out our first fantasy basketball show tomorrow, and it's like peak fantasy basketball season right now.
I appreciate you. That was very informative, and I took some notes down. I definitely took some notes down.
Yeah, Jordan, what the hell? Why aren't you doing that for us?
I told you I would.
I ain't seen it.
All right, I'm gonna get on it though. We're going to some tailgates.
Say less.
So our
brother.
next question. This one's a short one. What's the story behind the viral Ezekiel Elliott training camp clip that's on you guys' YouTube channel? It's got 250K views.
Yeah, so one of our buddies lives in Denver, and he was working with us at the time, and we were kind of just like toying around to like what's going to go viral and what isn't. And he put in our group chat, and he's like, oh, went to Broncos training camp today, and he posted that, and we were like, dude, or one of the guys was like, dude, you should put that like on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he put it on his Twitter account first, and then like ESPN, Bleacher Report, like a couple of these outlets were like, hey, can we use this and tag you? And we were like, wait, that's crazy. You should put it on our YouTube.
Yep.
And I mean, we just saw it like go viral too. I don't know what about it. I think it's short. It's like kind of just, it's straight to the point.
Yeah.
It's something you would see from like an ESPN if they'd captured it firsthand. So it was just like he had his phone right place, right time. And once we saw like the other companies like asking him for it, we're like, all right, we need to try to make as much money or as much waves as we can from this as possible.
Yeah. Like a perfect storm
cool.
sort of thing.
Yeah. And so, when we started going to sporting events in the future, like I went to an O's game and I saw Ohtani warming up. And I literally just posted like Shohei Ohtani warming up, and it was 2 pitches. And like that got like 2,000 views in an hour. So,
wow.
There's something about YouTube Shorts that like really, really have a high ceiling.
Yeah, shorts, you put the right tags and got the right content, and they'll skyrocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just started uploading those. So the highest one we got like 3 that are above 550. Got a couple that burned out, but yeah, so far it's the most views we've gotten on anything across any platform, besides one TikTok that got 1,400 views.
We got to keep playing with the shorts, but we're gonna get it down.
And you'll keep growing your audience too, and you'll see those numbers go up.
Yeah, most definitely. What are the challenges of maintaining a brand?
I mean, I'll be honest, we don't put out as much content anymore. From where we started 3-4 years ago to where we are now. My brother has a kid. The guy that does fantasy basketball with me has 2 kids. The world opened back up.
Ooh.
It's trying to find a work-life balance. Like, for me, I moved to a new location and I'm dating someone now. So, like, is my time going to be spent making money and, like, work? Or is my time going to be, am I going to be able to invest the 6-7 hours a week I used to do into prep, into research, into editing, into making graphics?
Yeah.
And just the money isn't there. And so, for me, it's doing it. That's a hobby now. Like, that's I'm not thinking about it as a business anymore. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about like doing it as a hobby. I like playing fantasy sports. I like talking with my friends and chopping it up, and that's what's able to help me keep going. It's just like I'm talking about it with my friends and I'm putting it out there, and it'll get some views, but I don't care about the money.
When you put it in that perspective, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like we started this because we enjoy it. Would we like it to be something full time? Yes, most definitely. But we're definitely having fun with it. We're on the grind, but it's just been fun to do in general.
And that's how it should be. Like like obviously as things change for you guys, like you'll have more priorities, but like do it now because it's fun.
And so our last one for at least this slot is more so about like the athletes that you guys have interviewed. So you got Austin Eckler, you got Jeff Ogden, Matt Garza. You got a couple of different athletes. And how do you like? I guess my question is, how did you like obtain these interviews? I guess did you go in like DMs? Was it like I know somebody that knows somebody?
Yeah, a couple were okay. I know someone that knows someone, or I know them directly. Like Adrian Dantley, who's a Hall of Famer. Him and I just happen to be friends, and we go to the same gym.
That's cool.
And so that was like an easy one from there. But it like Twitter, like on their DMs, if you go to their Instagram page, a lot of times they have the contact, and it's either them directly or their agent. When we used to have people on, as we're wrapping up, we'd be like, hey, it was really great having you on. Is there anybody if we had reached out to would be as gracious, with their time as you were today? Like,
Yeah.
always phrasing it of like, hey, who can you help us with? Not like, oh, who can you get? Like being appreciative of what they did and doing a nice ask rather than just, hey, who can you get? Who can you get? And for me, that did probably more outreach than anyone besides my brother. You always want to personalize it. Like I'll go to their Twitter page, I'll go to their Instagram page, and I'll try to make it seem like I've done my research on them. Like, hey, would love to talk to you about your career, transition to media, and some of the work you do for these philanthropic causes.
And just to piggyback off of that, what do you think? I guess you could say it was the best or like your favorite interview that you guys have done.
So I really enjoyed Danny Woodhead. Danny Woodhead, a backstory.
Danny
I lost in the
Woodhead.
fantasy. I lost to him in the fantasy football semifinals, I think in 2014, because he had a 4-touchdown game. And it was probably one of my worst losses. And like Danny Woodhead's like a 5'8" white guy.
Oh yeah, I vividly remember Danny Woodhead
Oh, he played for the Chargers and
and
wasn't it the
Patriots.
Ravens too?
The Patriots.
Okay, it was the
So-
Patriots. Okay.
So Danny Woodhead, and being able to tell him directly that he caused me so much pain. I never thought I'd have the opportunity for that, and like our group chat was waiting, our fantasy league was waiting for it for years, and like I love Danny, he's a really cool guy. After he was like, hey, like if you want, I'll sign a jersey for you.
Oh,
He
that's
gave me his
sick.
address
Oh.
and sent him. I have it hanging in my living room. Jordan, I'll send you a screenshot after.
That is sick. Yeah.
But it's like, to Eric, thanks for having me on the pod. Danny. So I got like probably like 6 or 7 autographed jerseys from people. Who was another really good one?
My girlfriend's a massive fan of Austin Eckler, so the fact that when I told her that you got to interview him, she was like, "What? No way!"
Austin Eckler was cool. He does a lot of podcasts though, so he's like a more down to earth guy. I'm trying to think of something that like had me. This was a different one. This wasn't like man, it's like my favorite. We had a guy named Ty Buttrey on. He was a relief pitcher for the Angels, and he just randomly retired.
Oh, I do remember him now.
Out of nowhere. And we brought him on because he was basically very outspoken about how bad things were in minor league baseball. The pay, the conditions, what you eat, the schedule. And we kind of had like a little bit of like a groundbreaking thing. Like he went like deep on our podcast. And I remember at one point, we had like 300 people tuning in because they were like, this is like really crazy stuff that he's saying live on Twitter right now that you guys are are Q&Ing him about.
That's insane.
Yeah, that is insane, Cole. You got to go back and watch that one. I know
Yeah,
you.
no, for real. Cause I got my former MLB buddy. He's gonna be coming on whenever we can coordinate it. So I'm gonna ask him some of those questions too. Then.
Drop
Yeah.
drop the name.
He was a draft choice by the Phillies. He kind of had a cup of coffee in the league. He was a left-handed reliever. He spent more of his time like in the minor leagues. Kyle Doey.
Nah. I was gonna say I'm a big baseball guy, but that doesn't
Yeah, he
doesn't ring
played
a
for the
bell.
Phillies a couple years ago, I think, and like had a cup of coffee in the league. Like he was only up for a short amount of time, and then they were gonna bring him up, but then he like separated his shoulder like in a surfing accident in the off season because he lives out in L.A. And so that kind of like put the nail in the coffin for him. He's an awesome dude though. I talk to him all the time. Shout out Kyle if he's listening.
Shout out Kyle. Can't wait to have you on too, Kyle. So our next one is a little bit more business oriented. How are you able to achieve your partnerships with, the companies that you do, like Manscaped, Underdog Fantasy, Odds Jam?
Oh yeah, you guys are asking some good questions. Y'all done some research. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
great
I'm
question,
usually
Jordan.
on
Good
the
job,
other
Jordan.
end where I do a little snooping. So companies like Manscaped and Underdog in the fantasy community, but for like Manscaped, they do a bunch of these like marketing like test ones. So they'll be like, all right, we'll give 50 companies a shot. We'll give them each their unique promo code. We'll give them 1 month, and then the 20 that perform the best, or the 10 that get over $200 in sales using their promo codes, we'll now take to the next level where, hey, if you get people to spend X amount. So with Manscaped, we had fun with the reads. Like they give us like reads, and then we kind of put our own spin on it. But like our friend group, from making fun of us to supporting, so like friends and family, like, hey, do you guys mind using our promo code? And so we were able to get 20% off or 20% of that with it. And for Underdog, we were actually cool with one of the people on there. And this was at the time where they didn't have a big baseball presence. And so, baseball was our most popular podcast in terms of downloads. So, with Underdog, it's promoting it, but we were also doing drafts, like best ball drafts. So it was something that, was just a little bit more organic. They approached us. But, when we were approaching companies, Manscaped, we had another one with Shady Rays. We had a brief stint with Odds Jam. And we had a lot of others approach us. They'd see the people we would get on interviews, and then when I would have like everybody I know give us ratings and reviews, we'd take screenshots and say, hey, we have like 130 ratings, 4.8 stars. So for them, they're just thinking like they have a crazy audience. They must be getting hundreds of downloads. Maybe we get like between 100 to 200 downloads and, whatever you want to add on YouTube. But like the optics looked better than they actually were. And not to say that we had a bad product, but we were very conscious about how to market. Like I went to school for marketing, one of the other guys went to school for marketing. So we knew in the meetings what to show that was going to resonate with the decision makers and ultimately, get an opportunity for a paid partnership. And it's really tough to get these to last long term. But, obviously it got us some exposure when we were at our peak.
I got a quick question for you, Eric. You said you work with Underdog, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever cross paths with a guy by the name of Jack Settleman?
I didn't, but I know who Jack Settleman is because he started a crazy rumor that the Vikings were going to trade Darnold and picks for Stafford.
So, cool story about him. So, he is like the biggest sports page on Snapchat. I started following him when I was in middle school when he was like real small, like so small that he had a name that was like taken, but he was just using it because, he was a small page. And so I reached out to him, and he's an awesome dude. Anytime I reach out to him, like DM him, he always answers back. So shout out to him. But he said that if Jordan and I keep our podcast going consistently for a year, he'll come on the pod. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, he should come on even just to support y'all anyway, but I'm hoping that you guys got the year and that, he'll come on and do it.
Yeah, he's an awesome
definitely.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. And to
I
see
know,
how
it's
big he's
awesome.
grown too is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, he put out that ridiculous rumor about Stafford, Stafford and Darnold, and props to it because whether it's good or bad, he got a lot of
You know
interaction.
what's crazy? We ended up talking about that on the last episode of the pod too. That's funny.
There's absolutely no truth to it, but I mean, here's the thing.
The crazy part is
People
he's been
will
right
forget it.
before.
But here's the thing. People will a lot of times, and it's like you throw shit against the wall and you see shit. And because I'm on the Twitter space, I see a bunch of accounts that do this, and I don't know Jack at all, so I'm not trying to say anything personal. But they'll throw a bunch of like crazy shit against the wall, and then they'll bury obviously the stuff that doesn't hit, and then if for some reason that trade was to ever happen, then they'll like retweet and quote tweet themselves. Oh, I was the first to break this. Look at the time codes. But when they're wrong, they ignore anything of like, oh, you said this was gonna happen.
Yeah, nah, for real.
That's how we're gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. Bad take. You're like, no. I don't remember saying that.
I never once in my life
So-
defended Jackson Dart.
And I die on that hill. So, I guess our final question, as far as like our big interview questions, what would your advice be to, I guess, Flag on the Take? I guess just to us, being a small pod and just kind of just starting out.
Yeah, I mean, I think for you guys is doing it because it's something you enjoy and not like, oh, I'm looking to make a lot of money from. I think the moment that is not as like fun for you anymore, and it's just you two, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just us.
I'd say like definitely communication is big. Like as soon as one person feels like they start pulling more than the other in terms of weight, like that's gonna cause rifts. Thinking about like how much time you can realistically commute. Like Jordan, you mentioned you're in school now and you're applying for jobs, but like once you do get a job, like hey, how much can I commit to it? Is it something that we can still do every Saturday? Is it something that I can commit to more than that, less than that? And honestly, like just having fun and talking about like what you want this to be. Like, hey, we're looking to do a lot of shorts. Hey, we're looking to talk all sports. Hey, we're looking to venture more in the interview. I think that was one of the things that we kind of struggled with a little bit for us is like, what do we want us to be? Do we want to be interviews? Do we want to do all three fantasy sports? Like we were stretched so thin because we're like, well, nobody else is doing this, but we didn't really have an identity. It was like, people would tune in for our fantasy baseball stuff, and then we wouldn't be able to keep them throughout the year because they didn't do football. So, that, and do we put stuff in? Do we invest in YouTube? Do we invest in podcasting? What are we going to spend our money on? So it's just all these things where there was at one point 7 of us in kind of like a leadership position, and just making sure everybody was able to allocate the same amount of time and had the same vision.
We appreciate you, Eric. Cole, is there anything else that you wanted to ask in that sense? Or did you want to get straight into 2-minute?
No, I mean went into some good detail. It was cool to hear about like Eckler and all the athletes and Danny Woodhead. I haven't heard that name in a while. That was a cool story.
Me neither. All right, so before we close out, we're going to do a little game called 2-minute drill. Eric, we're going to ask you just some basic questions. They're going to be kind of cool.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I guess we'll just wrap it up with the 2-minute. Cole, if you have anything you'd like to jump in with the 2-minute as well, please be my guest. We can. I know
Yeah,
we
I got
have
a
like
couple.
our thing, but okay. Do you want to just rattle off the ones that we have and then bang? Or
Yeah, I can fit the one I have whenever. I don't want to do it first, but I'll do it at some point.
all right, cool. So I'm gonna start the timer and I'm gonna give like a 3-second countdown. Eric, whenever you ready.
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. Favorite athlete of all time.
Gilbert Arenas.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Favorite sports
Agent
movie.
Zero.
Ooh, like Mike.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
Dream team, any sport, any era that you watch play.
Maryland basketball, early 2000s when they won the national championship.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's a good one. Okay, I like yours because yours are different. All right. If you could change one rule in sports, again, could be any sport, what would it be?
Have in the last 2 minutes of NBA when they can review who touched it out of bounds last, also being able to review if it was a foul or not.
Love that.
You don't think that would be a little problematic? I like that, but I was
No,
just
because I've seen a lot of ones that have gotten overturned because the person got fouled, but it was actually out on them. So the refs have to be like, well, it was out on you, but we can't review if it was a foul or not.
got
So I
you.
think if you're gonna do it one way, you got to go complete full send.
Dream athlete to interview, if it's one you haven't done yet.
Patrick Willis.
What a
That's a good one.
dog.
That's a good one.
What is
I-
in your opinion, what's the biggest what if in sports, like history?
What if Len Bias didn't die?
I was wondering if you were going to go that when you said Maryland basketball. Another one I had.
I mean, that was before my time, but like, I mean, just crazy, crazy to see someone like die like that.
Yeah, that was insane. Another one I had. How big of an idiot am I for taking Christian McCaffrey first overall the day before they announced the Achilles news?
You're a little bit of one. I won't like completely flame you.
You can. It's totally fine.
But also like the writing was on the wall that like he hadn't practiced most of the summer. I always said he was going to be the 103. Like I wouldn't have taken him number one. Also, when you draft somebody number one that had the season he did, it's almost always going to be short of what he did last year, and you're going to be chasing the expectations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, the only reason I took him is because CeeDee Lamb still wasn't signed. That's who I actually wanted, but he still wasn't signed.
I was always Bijan 101.
Crazy. I would have never.
Yeah,
I wasn't too high on Bijan this year either. I'm not gonna lie.
I was Bijan 1, CD 2, McCaffrey 3. I was very low on Breece Hall, so I wouldn't act like I was going to take him. And I think I liked Tyreek 4. Jamar Chase wasn't signed either, so I was lower on him. I think Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson. But yeah, obviously McCaffrey was 101 in most leagues.
I was pissed I was the first pick because I actually wanted Amon-Ra, but I was like, if I take Amon-Ra 1-1, everyone's going to flame me.
Yeah, you should have tried to trade down.
I wanted to, but this is one of those leagues where they're like, oh, we don't want to trade draft picks. It's too complicated.
Yeah, no, I think that's stupid.
Yeah, we don't.
You can tell your league that from me.
Bet I definitely will. That league is like more of like a bunch of old heads. Like it's like my uncles. It's like my uncle and like my grandfather and like people they know that are in it. But I'm a commissioner of a league that Jordan and I are in, and he has the
Oh yeah, the sleeper one.
Yeah, he has the most like commonly used name in all.
Hey now. First off, okay, I'm gonna say our 2 minutes is done, but continue the conversation.
Bro's about to crash out.
I listen. I've given up on that league. Cole texted me the other day. Was like, "Thanks for the free win." I was like, "Bro, you know what? I don't even care anymore."
Dude, your
After
team wasn't even
Puka and all my
bad.
people, they weren't bad. Everybody just got hurt, and I'm like, "Yo, come on." I'm basically
Jordan,
the
I'm
Cowboys.
also not going to give you any slack for Puka because writing was on the wall.
I didn't think he was gonna get hurt though, and plus he wasn't like he was one of my later picks. He wasn't like my first.
It was
pick.
like your 3, I think.
It was good.
Yeah.
I and I'll be honest, as gambling or sports betting, because I like that better than gambling, has been more prevalent. That's where I focus more on. Like and I'll tell you guys off camera, like kind of my strategy. But fantasy is fun, but like if I'm gonna spend time doing this, like I want it to be more profitable. And like a $25 buy-in for a league doesn't get me as excited as potentially winning more.
Jeez.
Is there anything else you wanted to ask before we wrap it up, Cole?
No, I think that pretty much did it right there, to be honest.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you coming on. This has been amazing.
Appreciate you guys having me. This has been awesome.
We appreciate you being the
thank you
first
so
guest, man.
much, man. It was awesome.
Again, yeah, we're having fun with this, but at the same time, we are, trying to build a following, see where it goes. And so we appreciate you, contributing to that. So, absolutely. Cole, close this out.
Yeah, man. Eric, thank you again so much. You're going to go down in Flag on the Take history as the first guest on the pod. So congrats on that.
Oh.
But no, we seriously thank you. It was a lot of fun, and you had some really cool stories and some spicy takes, which is what this podcast is all about. Whether they're good or bad, it remains to be seen. But no, like I said, I really appreciate you. So for Jordan, thank you again. Eric, I'm Cole. We'll see you all next time. See ya.